In 1804, Napoleon stood in Notre Dame Cathedral, took the imperial crown from the Pope's hands, and placed it on his own head. It was a dramatic act, right? But it was a direct response to a problem created exactly 1,000 years earlier on Christmas Day, 800 AD, when Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne Roman Emperor. Charlemagne later claimed he never would have entered the church that day if he'd known what was coming, and we may doubt that. But the question that coronation raised, who holds ultimate authority, the one who gives the crown or the one who wears it, would haunt European politics for a millennium. To understand why Napoleon did what he did, we need to go back to Christmas Day, 800. Pope Leo III was in trouble. Roman factions had attacked him, nearly blinded him, and driven him from the city. He needed Charlemagne's military protection. Charlemagne traveled to Rome. On Christmas morning, he entered St. Peter's Basilica, and there, before the assembled congregation, Leo placed a crown on Charlemagne's head and proclaimed him Emperor of the Romans. This was revolutionary, and here's why. Constantine, the original Christian Roman emperor, was never crowned by a pope. No Roman emperor ever was. The imperial title was held by right, by conquest, by acclamation of the army. The emperor answered to no one on earth. But having a pope place the crown on your head changes the power dynamic entirely. The one standing and placing the crown appears more powerful than the one kneeling to receive it. This is what historians call the Coronation Problem, and Charlemagne's biographer Einhard tells us Charlemagne himself sensed the danger, a claim we may view with some cynicism. But the coronation didn't just raise a question about authority, it also revealed something about geography. Charlemagne did not see himself as simply restoring Rome. He ruled Franks, Lombards, Avars, Saxons, and others. The title emperor signified authority over many peoples. He even planned to divide the empire among his sons. He only passed to one because the others died. And his capital was not Rome, not Milan, not Ravenna, the traditional seats of late Roman imperial power. His capital was Aachen in Austrasia, the northeastern Frankish heartland, roughly modern Belgium, the Netherlands, and the Rhineland. This was not a Mediterranean empire with a northern appendage. It was a northern European empire with a Roman title. Charlemagne's political base, his military recruiting grounds, his economic heartland, his family lands, all of them sat in northern Europe. He built his great palace chapel at Aachen, modeled on the churches of Ravenna, but planted firmly north of the Alps. The center of gravity of Western civilization shifted. For 1,000 years, from Augustus to the fall of Ravenna, power in the West had been anchored to the Mediterranean. Charlemagne broke that pattern. After him, the decisive political and economic forces in Europe would increasingly come from the north. This tension, who really holds the crown, didn't fade, it intensified. In 962, Otto I had himself crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope, deliberately echoing Charlemagne. The same symbolic problem returned. By the 11th century, it erupted into open conflict. The investiture controversy and the struggle over whether popes or emperors had the right to appoint bishops. Emperor Henry IV stood barefoot in the snow at Canossa, begging Pope Gregory VII for forgiveness. The question of papal versus imperial authority shaped European politics for centuries. It was never cleanly resolved. The ultimate dramatic resolution came in 1804. Napoleon understood the symbolism perfectly. He invited Pope Pius VII to Notre Dame for his imperial coronation, and then, at the decisive moment, took the crown from the Pope's hands and placed it on his own head. The message was unmistakable. I hold authority by my own right, not by your permission. Napoleon even had Charlemagne's relics brought to the ceremony. A 1,000-year argument answered in a single gesture. So Charlemagne's empire fractured. But the idea it created, Europe as something more than a place on a map, endured. After Charlemagne's death, his empire passed to his son, Louis the Pious. Then in 843, the Treaty of Verdun divided it among Charlemagne's three grandsons: West Francia, roughly France; East Francia, roughly Germany; and between them a middle kingdom called Lotharingia, named after Charlemagne's grandson Lothar, stretching from the Low Countries through Burgundy to northern Italy. This tripartite division is the embryo of the European state system, and the middle strip, the zone that was neither fully French nor fully German, would be fought over for 1,000 years. Lotharingia became the most contested territory in European history. Charlemagne was, in one sense, the reviver of the Roman Empire, but more profoundly, he was the founder of Europe as a cultural and political concept, not just a geographic expression. His empire fused Roman institutional memory, Christian universalism, and the Germanic warrior culture into something genuinely new. None of those three elements alone created Europe. Rome alone was Mediterranean. Christianity alone was universal, not European. Germanic culture alone was tribal. Charlemagne's achievement was the fusion, right? And that fusion defined Western civilization for the next 12 centuries. When the European Union took its current form in the early 1990s, the founding treaties were deliberately located in the old Carolingian heartland, the Maastricht Treaty of 1992, signed in the Netherlands. The EU's de facto capital, Brussels, Belgium. The European Court of Justice, Luxembourg. And the European Parliament, Strasbourg, France. These are not French cities. They are not German cities. They are Carolingian cities, places that sit in the ancient middle ground of Charlemagne's empire. The next time you see a map of the European Union, look at where its institutions are clustered. Brussels, Strasbourg, Luxembourg, Maastricht. That's not an accident. That's Charlemagne's empire, still quietly shaping the world 1,200 years later.